what's up everyone, Just Galactic here. Today I'm bringing you all my Raging Bolt EX deck profile. I have taken this deck on Saturday to my local league and went 3-0 with it and had a lot of fun playing it since a lot of people wanted me to play God of War since a lot of people are tired of God of War. So I played Raging Bolt and see how that went for me, and it went undefeated and got second place, which was a lot of fun. And so I decided to kind of jump on here and show you my deck profile since the deck gets not rotated out, but I think we lose Professor Sada in the next upcoming rotation, which kind of sucks. So I want to get this out here so I can kind of have this deck documented for like research purposes, whatever. But this is my version of Raging Bolt. I do not play the Noctowl version of the deck since I personally just did not like it, since I thought the Noctowl line would be more of a liability. So I chose not to play it. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. First off, starting off with 4 copies of Raging Bolt EX. It is the main attack on the deck. You mostly are using the attack Bellowing Thunder, which does 70 damage for each energy you discard from your Pokemon, which is pretty much knock out one-shot pretty much most Pokemon in the game. So most of the time you only need like 5 or 6 energies to knock out most Pokemon, which is pretty cool. Burst Roar does come up in the early game sometimes if I don't have the energy to do Bellowing Thunder, which almost never happens since normally with this deck I'm going second and getting my attacks off immediately. But Burst Roar does come in handy if like your hand is really bad, or like you got, I don't know, down to 2 cards and you can't really do much of anything, or you're stalled out. It can help you fix your hand a little bit, but it also comes really clutch with Sada too. Like really comes in handy with that. To get our energy cards, we're running 4 copies of Tailmask Ogerpon because of Tail Dance. Pretty much you can just get your energy, you can attack Gyarados energy to it and draw a card. Pretty much that's most how you're getting all your energy for your knockouts. It's from Tail Dance. So yeah. The attack doesn't really come up too often. I did use the attack on my round, I think 2 opponent, which came in handy. But it's like for the most part, it's not really necessary. In most cases, only playing like some things like Charizard EX, not Mega Charizard, but like the regular Charizard EX, the Dark type. It's gonna get to that, and I think Marnie's as well. But I could be wrong about that one. I know it's good because one of the like a bunch of other Dark decks too in the format, so I can just use it for that if I need to. Next up, I play the one small little Raging Bolt. Its first attack does 3 damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon. It's coming in handy against something like Crustle, since with Crustle can't be damaged by basic Pokemon EXs. So I run this in the deck so that I can kind of get around it, which comes up every so often, but it's not really necessary in the deck for the most part, since again it's like only used to that one Pokemon. For the rest of our we're running 1 Mew EX to help us draw our cards off restart. Run the 1 Latios EX to help us get free retreat. 1 Squawkabilly for Squawkasees, so when you go second, we can just draw the hold in hand, jump energy to the discard, and you decide to get it back. Also, Motivate does come handy from time to time, but I've never actually used it. And of course, the 1 copy of Serendipity. And that's it for our Pokemon. All pretty much self-explanatory. We're not really doing that many Pokemon, since most of the time pretty much you can get to everything you need pretty easily. And to make sure you get things pretty easily, we run the 1 copy of Princess Trolley as our A-Spec, since it's really good in the deck. I would not run any of the A-Spec in this deck except for Princess Trolley, since I personally like Princess Trolley. To get more Pokemon, we're running 4 copies of Nest Ball, since all our Pokemon in the deck are basics. Pretty much you can grab anything you want. You don't need Ultra Balls in this deck, since you can probably grab anything you need off the Nest Ball. Then running 4 copies of Bud Catching Set to look for our Tailmask Ogerpons and Grass Energy. Just again, a really good card off the top 7. Most times you're hitting like you can hit 1 or 2. Sometimes you get lucky and hit like 3 or 4, which is pretty cool. But for the most part, like if you can hit 1 Grass Energy and 1 Tailmask to fill your Tail Dance, that's super awesome. They're running 3 copies of Earthen Vessel. They help you look for any energy you're missing. Most case scenario, you're looking for like 1 energy card for the Raging Bolt and then 1 Grass Energy, or if you have a Raging Bolt already powered up, you're looking for Grass Energy at that point. You know, it's pretty pretty much just depending on what you need at the moment. For the late game, we're running 2 copies of Superior Energy Retrieval. Since your energy is mostly in discard, you're using this to kind of get them back into the deck, or into your hand, so you can use more tail dances. Pretty much most of the time, with this, you're grabbing like all your grass energy at the discard. Since most of the time in your discard is mostly grass energy, so using this to grab back 4 grass energy and use tail dance 1 each for each of your tail master ogre pawns, and draw 4 cards. Then we run 3 copies of Pokegear to help us look for our supporters. Mostly looking for Sada or Crispin. That's pretty much what you're looking for most of the time. Is like Sada's, Crispin, sometimes Boss's Orders. But for the most part, it's Sada and Crispin, because Sada is game in most cases. Then we run 2 copies of Night Stretcher to get back either energies or Pokemon, in case whatever you need. And then obviously the 1 copy of Super Rod, good energy back to the deck for Crispin. Or Pacific in Pokemon for the most part. I've never had a problem with the deck breaking. I've had issues where I couldn't get the energy, but it usually fixes itself like my second turn usually. So I've never had a problem attacking. For our supporters, we're running 4 of the main girl, Professor Sada's Vitality. It allows you to attach 2 energy. It allows you to choose up to 2 agent Pokemon and attach energy from your discard to them and draw 3. She's pretty much like the heart and soul of the deck, since she's pretty much your main use to gain back energy from discard, which is super awesome. She's really important to the deck. I'm sad that she's leaving soon, but it's whatever, since we'll probably end up changing it out for the next card of the deck, being Crispin, 2 copies of Crispin. So when Sada leaves, I'll probably run 2 more Crispins, and I'll probably run 2 more energy retrieval, just regular energy retrievals at that point. Looks like I have 4 Crispins and 2 copies of energy retrievals, and then 2 copies of Superior to replace the Sados. But Crispin's really good since you can touch 2 energy from your deck to your Pokemon. It does suck though when you don't have the 2 different kinds, since if you don't have 2 different energies in your deck, you had to add the energy to your hand, which kind of sucks. But you know, it's something you gotta work around. Usually, kind of make sure you know your energy count in deck and stuff at all moments in time. So it's like really hard to kind of do sometimes, and like especially during the late game, which is why I run so much deck search to make sure I have the energy in my deck. Next up, we're running 2 copies of Boss's Orders, because Boss's Orders is really good. 1 copy of Iono for hand disruption, because it's really good. Along with Iono, we're also running 1 copy of Judge as well for hand interruption, especially against decks like Goldingo EX, which it tends to get really big hands, and a Kangaskhan EX, and along with Alakazam, which also can get really big hands. You know, you're running some just other cards to get the hand back down to really small, so you have to draw a bunch more cards. It's pretty cool. We're running 1 copy of Chorus Tenacity to help us look for our Stadium, which doesn't really come up too often, but it's just really cool to have in case I need the Stadium for one reason or another, or then Stadium bump their Stadium with the way. We run 2 copies of 18 Booster Energy Capsule. There should be a 4 of, but brought down to 2. Since usually I can get around the 300, the 240 usually isn't an issue. Since, you know, especially in the Mega format where I'm taking 3 prize cards most of the time, having them taking 2 and me taking 3 isn't really an issue, since I knock out 2 of their Megas and the game's over with. But on top of that, some Pokemon can hit 240, which is pretty cool. But it's like whatever. 2 copies of Area Zero Underdepths is our last trainer card in the deck. It's probably the best Stadium in this deck, since it allows you to get 8 Pokemon on your bench, which means you can get more Tail Dances off, you can get more Raging Bolt set up, and have all your support Pokemon as well. So that's it for all the trainer cards in the deck. Lastly is the energy count. We run 1, 2, 3 Lightning Energy, 1, 2, 3 Fighting Energy, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Grass Energy. I liked this energy count since it allows you to get more Tail Dances off, and with your energy and Professor Sada, you can pretty much recycle back your grass, your electric, and fighting energy pretty much back with Professor Sada. So it's like self-explanatory. And top of that, if you have a rainbow already set up and active, putting a grass energy on it won't hurt, since you can just discard it anyways off the Bubbling Thunder attack, which is pretty cool. Something I intend to do though is if I know my opponent's gonna knock out my active Raging Bolt, I would discard all the energy off it, and if I have another one set up, I would discard all the energy off the Raging Bolt in the active, and whatever else energy I need for my Tailmaster Punch, and I won't touch the other Raging Bolt since I do want to make sure I have two set up at all times, one in the active and one on my bench. So yeah, the deck is really fun though. I would say if you do play the deck, kind of like figure out your own pace for it. And it's kind of have fun because it just one-shots everything. Monkey Dory isn't really an issue for this deck since I am usually not really leaving damage on my opponent's board. Since if I can't one-shot, then I would try to take something else smaller that I can't one-shot. So this deck, you want to one-shot all your opponent's Pokemon. But yeah, that's it for deck profile. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, please remember to like, comment, subscribe. And this is Jackson, signing out.